How can one uphold Khalwa in a work environment? Now, I'm unsure whether you are referring to this as a spiritual question and you are asking in light of Khalwa as in seclusion, spiritual seclusion where you are alone with Allah, or whether you're asking this in a from a fiqh perspective where you are referring to Khalwa as in Khalwa with a female. So let's answer both bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Khalwa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or spiritual retreat, is something that in a legal sense Muslims can achieve through the act of worship known as i'tikaf, which is sunnah at any time, more emphasized in Ramadan and even more emphasized during the last 10 days of Ramadan. Then spiritual retreat beyond that, the way the Prophet ﷺ did in Ghar Hira, or the way the Ashabul Kahf did, for example, and many other examples of spiritual retreat. Many people manage to attain this via Hajj, via Umrah, or by visiting the mashayikh and spending time in their company and, going for a spiritual program of sorts. As for the spiritual concept of personal khalwa, where you are only thinking about Allah, as in what the Naqshbandis refer to as wuquful qalb, where your daily life is carrying on and you're doing the activities in front of you, but your heart is still focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consistently. That is one method of perhaps a spiritual concept of khalwa that you may want to explore further, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And then finally, in a legal sense, if you find yourself in a workspace, then if you find yourself in a workspace where both men and women are working together and there's no segregation between the two, the most important element there is to ensure that you don't have khalwa, right? Not to have khalwa, but to not have khalwa, which means that you are not alone with a non-mahram woman. Alone here means that you're not in a closed office where nobody can see you and nobody has access to you. If you are, that would be problematic. And if there are other people around and the office is open and people can see through it and so forth, then this perhaps can still be justified as not being khalwa. But for the most part, what you need to ensure is to not ever, even as far as I would say an elevator, an escalator, whichever is the one where you get in and it goes up and down, even there, if you get into a lift and you see that it would only be yourself and this woman in the lift, it would be safer to take the next lift. These days it's not just about it's first and foremost about the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there's also dunyawi considerations. The lift opens and the sister inside the lift decides to turn around to the people and say, this man just tried to touch me or something of the sort, wal'iyadhu billah. This would cause absolute mayhem in one's life. So to safeguard yourself from both a dunyawi sense and an Islamic sense, and of course Allah's law is first and foremost for an akhirah sense, then this would be the considerations for khalwa in the workplace, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So I would love to actually know which of the two you referred to, but I hope that there was benefit in both, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. That's all that we have here, bi'idhnillah. Insha'Allah, I don't see, I'm not sure if I'm not receiving the questions here, but I don't see questions in the chat. So we'll suffice ourselves with that, bi'idhnillah. But if you had sent questions because something seems funny on my end, then do send it to us via the Seekers Guidance Answers Forum, bi'idhnillah. Barakallahu li wa lakum, jazakumullahu khairan, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad, subhanallahi wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.